Hi everyone, and thanks so much for joining me for another Sims 3 speed video in Sunset Valley today, where I am continuing on with my renovation of this town. Very slow renovation, of course, and yeah, just happy to be in my game and able to build with my store content, for goodness sakes. It's been a bit of a mission trying to get that to work. I mean, it's been working temperamentally more often than not lately, so I'm actually glad to be able to, that I've been able to play consecutive days and complete some projects in it, whereas I wasn't able to a couple of weeks back. But yeah, back in this particular area of town, this has been my main focus for the well, I think the last video anyway, because I did the nightclub, and now I'm revisiting this lot, doing another penthouse apartment. And I mean, if you've been following on from following this project along, you will know that I had already built a penthouse apartment here, and so you're probably thinking, why are you doing it again? And I mean, it's kind of a combination of things, really. When I started this and I started the builds for this world, I think I was, and this is kind of the same situation I found myself in when I was doing the nightclub. I was just really excited and just wanting to play around with a lot of the content and some build styles and all that. So I kind of was just building stuff willy-nilly without really having a grand vision in mind. And so what kind of happened is that I built this penthouse apartment here originally, and I do really like it, but I felt like it didn't really fit in with the rest of the world. It did look quite out of place. It was a very modern looking apartment building, and this one is still modern looking, but it was I don't know, it didn't really tie into the color schemes and the textures that I've been using in my more recent builds in Sunset Valley. And so I decided to revisit this lot, and what I initially started doing was, I mean, because I liked the previous build, I really liked the interior design that I did with that build. I tried to salvage it as much as possible, and I did spend a good 2-3 hours playing around with the previous build, trying to edit the facade of it so that it kind of fit in a little better, like changing the textures and then changing some of the features and the architectural features and stuff like that, the windows, all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't get anything to work that that looked harmonious. It just looked a bit random. And yeah, the building, the way that building came together, it really does it was pretty inflexible. I'm just going to say that it was inflexible, and so I think the easiest thing for me to do in that case was just to rebuild a new building that would really that focused on the aesthetic of Sunset Valley. When I'm talking about the aesthetic of Sunset Valley, I'm talking about mostly the textures and the colors and the style of the buildings as well. So you'll notice that a lot of the buildings, particularly in the town center, are quite red and brown and earthy. I mean, Sunset Valley is known for having quite earthy tones to it, quite vibrant tones as well, but a lot of red, greens, earthy blues, browns, that kind of thing. And so I did really want to just stick to continue on with a brick facade here, and then just have some wood tones on the building as well. And the other building also had a lot of black on it, and I wasn't really, I felt like the black really made it stand out amongst other buildings and just a little too much. So yeah, and then like I said, I tried to change the facade and play around with different textures and all that, and just nothing was really coming together. And yeah, so I just decided to bite the bullet and demolish it and start again. However, not all is lost, because if you do prefer that building for this particular lot, it's still there for download. It is a really good building. I do really like it. I was really trying to salvage it, because I looked at the interior and I was like, wow, I am so pleased with the interior design that I did for this building. I mean, tooting my own horn here, but I feel like I did a really good job. and yeah, so I was really trying to salvage it and I just couldn't. So yeah, so I mean, here we are, just putting a new exterior together. And of course, like I said, we've got the brick facade here. We've got some, it's kind of got slight industrial vibes to it, but I wasn't going to try to go too industrial because I do want this to be very high end. But the color scheme is more, for the interior anyway, is more modern, but it is a bit more casual rather than super high end modern, which is kind of the idea that I was going for previously. I feel like this one utilizes the outdoor space a little better, even though it has no, what you can see here, it has like no balconies, like traditional balconies. It does have a couple of outdoor areas that you can see in the corners here where I'm able to fit a bit more outdoor, I have a bit more outdoor space to work with. So I'm actually able to fit in a hot tub on this particular penthouse, or in this particular penthouse, whereas in the previous build I wasn't able to because the balcony was just too small. And that was just mainly down to because of how I had actually designed the building. Whereas when I was putting this building together, I was like, okay, well, I actually want there to be more space for outdoor activities, more or less just a hot tub. I mean, but there is a bit more space for outdoor activities. So yeah, I had that in mind when I was putting it together. But yeah, I mean, more or less it has the same, I guess, features as the other build. So it's got a nice open plan living. It has 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. One of those bathrooms is an ensuite. It has a dedicated laundry room, and yeah, just a nice hallway. Hallways are just so interesting. And yeah, I was also just happy to be able to redo the landscaping around the building as well, because now I've got the landscaping for the nightclub sorted, and I was quite happy with that. So when I was doing this building, I made sure that the landscaping for this build kind of complemented the landscaping of the building next door, or the nightclub next door. And it's also got the same fake shops down the bottom as well, just to add some more detail, some more realism to the building itself. So yes, I do have some fake shops. One of them is a fake like kids furniture store. Another one is a fake light store, which is what I had on the other build, and I also have a fake clothing store. And yeah, in terms of my overall thoughts on this building, I mean, I'm happy with it. I think, in my opinion, it fits the area better. And do you know what? It actually made me appreciate the rooftop bar next to this lot, which I have actually also revisited and done some minor tweaks to. But it made me appreciate that building a little more, because when I was rebuilding this lot, my idea was to rebuild this lot and then completely make over the rooftop bar, because I also felt like that build was a little mismatched compared to the buildings in the rest of the town. But having done rebuilt this lot here, with this apartment building, it actually, I feel like it fit, the rooftop bar next door fits in a little better. The color schemes aren't so disparate. Is that the word that I'm looking for? Yeah, I don't know, I think it is. So yeah, I mean, since I'm doing the voiceover for this building now, but I've actually since moved on to the rooftop bar next door and made some minor adjustments to it. Nowhere near as drastic as what I'm doing here, where I'm like completely rebuilding it. The building next door, the rooftop bar, it's just getting a few minor tweaks here and there. And I've said this, I recall saying this a while ago, that I actually, you know, once I had finished in this particular area or in a particular section of town, that I would just kind of go through and tidy up a few lots and make some changes here and there, just so things are more cohesive and harmonious. I do plan on revisiting Mirabello Plaza once more, just where I've done the consignment store, because I feel like I could have spent a little more time on that build, and yeah, so I will be revisiting that one. So yeah, I've got most of the exterior done. I'm just moving on to the lobby here, and so I've got a couple of lifts up to the penthouse apartment, but I also have a staircase or a stairwell as well. And I've done that just keeping in mind the keeping accessibility in mind, because I mean, I don't experience it too much, but I've just heard that some people have problems with elevators in The Sims 3, that they're not very good sometimes. You know, sometimes they cause lag or whatever. So just to give Sims another option to get up and down this building, there is a stairwell if they don't want to use the lift for whatever reason. But it is behind the building, so it's not near the lifts. I don't know if this is a problem in The Sims 3. I mean, I haven't encountered this issue in The Sims 3, but in The Sims 2, if you have a stairwell and a lift close together, then Sims will kind of use the lift and this, like a combination of the lift and the stairs to get to a building level. So for example, they'll get the lift to like, they want it, so for example, if you want your Sim to go to like level 10, then they'll get the lift to like level 7 and then take the stairs up to level 9 and then get the lift from level 9 to level 10. Like, it's really weird if you have the stairs and the lifts too close together. I don't know if that kind of issue is apparent in The Sims 3, but just in case it is, I made sure the stairs were well away from the lifts. So yeah, and one of the things that I'm kind of bummed about is these lifts are very Art Deco styled. I mean, I love Art Deco, but I do not feel like the Art Deco lifts fit this building. One of the things I like to do when I play The Sims 3 and I like make apartment buildings is I do download a custom lift, which is a, it's on Mod The Sims, and it's, I should actually link it down the bottom. I'll link it down below. I should actually link it in this video or in the description of this video. But it's basically just a basic lift. Like, it just looks like a plain lift. It has no Art Deco detail on it whatsoever. And it just looks like a lift you would see in any regular building. And I mean, if I was playing with custom content, I would definitely use that lift in this build. But because I'm not, I have to go with the only lift that we have in the game, which is the this Art Deco one from Late Night. There is some sort of lift that came with Into the Future, but I mean, that is very stylized in terms of future aesthetics, so of course I wasn't going to be using that. So we've moved on to the interior, and I'm putting the kitchen together, and initially I started the kitchen from this angle here before I quickly realized that that wasn't going to work, and I felt like it looked much better facing because my idea is to have the kitchen face the dining space, and yeah, this was just a much better placement for the kitchen, so that there was actually enough room for a dining table and chairs. And yeah, I'm just playing around with some textures here, and yeah, the color schemes, I'm trying to stick to that kind of Sunset Valley theme of the browns and the greens and the earthy tones, but much more modern in this one. It's kind of casual modern. It's not like hyper stylized modern or anything like that. And yeah, I did make a bit of a compromise here where I had these windows, and clearly they are not counter height. I thought about swapping the windows out here, but I mean, I really wanted just a consistent window for the exterior of the building, and so I just kept the same windows and just covered up like just put the counters in front of the windows even though they're not at the right height, like just whatever. I couldn't be bothered thinking too much about it, to be honest, and I think it looks fine anyway, and from the inside it looks fine. You know, the upper cabinets do cover part of the window, the lower cabinets cover part of the window. It just looks like the windows are made to fit that wall or these cabinets, but the exterior you can kind of see how, I mean, the windows are covered by cabinets, but I mean, like, it's such a non-issue to me now that I just don't even care. I felt like the compromise was worth it. So yeah, this is where the dining space is, and we've got a nice big dining table here that fits 8 Sims. I was going to use one of these rugs, but I decided to use the square rug, so I had a bit more precision with the placement of the rug and the size of it, and also the texture. I mean, I prefer using these rugs actually with creator style. I feel like the other rugs, they have that they have 2 channels, and the channel on the edge like has this kind of edging to it that really just makes the rugs look funny if you're trying to use a rug with one texture. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that makes sense, but whatever. Moving on to the living room here, and this has a nice sectional sofa, and retexturing it with a nice kind of I don't know what you call that material. Is it like plush? I think it's like a plush material. And I'm using the Into the Future of cabinets, of course, to make like a console for the TV. And yeah, I mean, these cabinets are so versatile in terms of, and I'm so glad that we have them, because they're probably one of the most modern and versatile objects that we have in The Sims 3 in terms of making modern aesthetics and modern pieces of furniture. Just very plain, square, which seems to be, you know, or kind of timeless in terms of creating a more modern look for a build. I did try to put in some bookcases on either side of the TV, but yeah, I just couldn't quite find anything that looked that didn't look out of place, really. Yeah, I just had a bit of trouble with the bookcases, so I ditched the bookcases and I just put a few bits of decor on either side of the kitchen. We've got a bookcase over there anyway, so there is definitely a bookcase in this build. Now I'm kind of doing this other console piece behind the dining space, which is separated by columns, by the way. I feel like the columns really do a good job of separating spaces in this huge, ginormous open area living, or this open plan living. Got a ginormous painting above the console, and then I go and add this little kind of plant piece, and then we've got the space here, and I was like, what do I put here, because something really needs to go in that space to fill it out. A bookcase would have been a great object there, but I couldn't quite find any that looked you know, modern enough. That was one of the things I was having trouble with, is finding a bookcase that looked reasonably modern and fit well with the Into the Future cabinets. So I ended up using that kind of those that shelf piece from I think it's from Sunlit Tides, or the spa lot that comes with Sunlit Tides. But then I thought, well, actually I need a door to be there to get into the stairwell, so I did have to move those shelves from Sunlit Tides, or the spa from Sunlit Tides. But I do place that again, like I do come back and replace that object, because I felt like it did look really good, even though the purpose of it is a bit, you know, it makes no sense really for that kind of, all those kinds of objects like towels and massage oils and lotions and that to be in the living room, but they look nice. The overall aesthetic of that shelf looks good, so I just, yeah, here I am placing it again. But you can just see, like, it's great at filling up that space there. It just it looks good. You might recall also in the previous apartment building that I made like a little end table out of stacked shelves, and I tried to do that again with this build, but just looked a little bit out of place. I felt like this looked good next to a front door, but I mean, it was right next to a hallway, so yeah, it just didn't quite look the way I wanted it to, so I did, yeah, swap that out in the end. But there is like a nice little seating area next to the bookshelf. I mean, of course, there's a grand piano there again, which was in the previous apartment, and then there's just like a little study nook there with the computer that is sectioned off by the bookshelf. And yeah, here's where I'm putting in the stairwell, so it's right in the corner of the building, and it goes down to the garage, which has space for like I don't know, like 3 or 4 cars, I think. Now, yeah, I'm just replacing the shelf, because I also realized that I didn't have a stereo, and I was like, I need to put a stereo here. Couldn't think of where to put it, and I was kind of having an issue with that end table or side table there made of stacked shelves, and so I just took those shelves away and put the jukebox there. Going in with some wall decorations, and yeah, I mean, a lot of my wall decorations or paintings and stuff, I found a good chunk of them from the store. One of the, because I've been having issues with the store, one of the suggestions I received was to source my store content from an alternative means, and I think that's a really reasonable option. My only problem with that is that, or a reasonable option for dealing with issues with just the EA Store content not working in the launcher. But my only issue with that is that I've already built a ton of stuff in this game using store content from, like, legit store content from the EA Store. And if I was to go and replace it with packaged versions of store content, then the game wouldn't recognize it, and it means that I would have to, because it wouldn't recognize it, it would default to other objects, or the game would just remove the objects, and then that means I would have to go through all my builds again and redo them with packaged versions of store content. So I probably won't be doing that, and that's probably a warning for anyone else as well who is looking to use these lots. You will need the legit versions of the store content for that content to work. I don't think if you have packaged versions of store content, when I say packaged versions, I mean the versions that you put in your mods folder, not versions that are installed through the launcher. If you have the mods folder package files, then they won't work with these builds. They'll just probably, what will happen is the game will just default those objects to it'll remove them or default them to something else. So a bit unfortunate. And I am trying to use store content reasonably sparingly, but I mean, what can I say? I've built up a collection over the years and I do want to use it, so here I am using it. And I think in general, the builds that I'm doing, and you might notice it with this build as well, compared to the last build, is that I'm doing things more simply decorated rather than hyper detailed or super detailed, because I am conscious of the performance of this world and all that kind of stuff. So now we're in the bedroom. So this is the master bedroom, and it has an ensuite as well, a very long ensuite I might add, but it's a nice space, and it has private access to one of the balconies. I wouldn't call it a balcony. It's not really a balcony. It's kind of like a little courtyard or a terrace, because it's kind of enclosed in the building, but it has no roof above it, so it's exposed. And that particular courtyard has I ended up putting a hot tub in that one, whereas the other one on the other side of the building has a barbecue and table and chairs. And I mean, if you do end up downloading this lot and playing with it, you can kind of just do whatever you want with the outdoor areas, because I feel like I don't usually play with barbecues. My Sims almost exclusively cook using ovens, and so personally I would probably change that to something else, but I feel like a barbecue and a table and chairs looks good, so that's why I used it. But we've got this bathroom here, very simple. We've got the shower tub combo toilet, a pedestal sink, and just lights, and I put in a trash can there, and I come back and put in a little bit more detail, like just put a plunger and some toilet paper as well. We've got this weird narrow space off the hallway here, and so I decided to make one of the rooms into a fake closet. I got that idea off of Josh from Into the Simulation, who's done he created Pleasant Isle, and I binged that series, and so he was very inspirational to me. And one of the things he would do in his builds was make these kind of like fake closets, and I thought that was a good thing to do in this with that particular space, because I just didn't know what to put in like a little 2-tiled room. Really I only needed 3 tiles for the laundry, but the extra 2 tiles, it only made sense to make a fake closet here. But here is a teen's bedroom. So I did say that this was 3 bedrooms. So here's a teen's bedroom, and it's got a nice blue, I call them feature walls, but I think in other parts of the world they're called statement walls, or is it accent walls? I'm not sure, but we've got some blue and some white in here, and then we've got some nice wood textures, and so it's very much like a teenage boys room, whereas the kids room, which is coming up next, is for a little girl. yeah, going in with some real basic, well, not basic stuff, but standard furnishing. So we've got like a couch and wardrobe and bed, TV, a desk, some nice wall decorations, just playing around with the rug texture at the moment. I was trying to, like, I do look at reference photos for inspiration to play around, like to get some ideas for textures and stuff. And sometimes I'll see a nice texture in a photo and I'll try and recreate it in The Sims 3 and it just does not look good in this game whatsoever. Usually it's a case of me trying to repurpose a Maxis texture to look like a texture that I've seen in like a reference photo, and they're just really, the reference photo is just so unique that there's nothing like it in The Sims 3, and so I end up failing big time trying to get a Maxis texture to look like a texture I've seen in a reference photo. So yeah, it can be a bit of a struggle at times. But here we are in the little girl's room, and so we've got some green on the walls, very earthy green. And then going in with some decorations on the walls here, and yeah, we've got the usual, just got a toy box and a dollhouse. There is actually enough room for like a desk in here as well for the kid to do their homework, but for whatever reason I just didn't put it in. But yeah, like I said, I was going for doing something a bit more simply decorated, so I wasn't wanting to jam pack stuff into this room, or into the room. So I mean, yeah, there is definitely space there for a desk as well if you want to put one in there. Now moving on to the main bathroom, and this is actually quite funny because I completely cut this footage out, but I moved on to this bedroom, into this room here, thinking, wow, I pretty much nearly finished this build and I've got an extra room here. I don't want to do another bedroom, so I might do a hobby room. And so I kind of turned this one into like a little hobby room with, initially anyway, into a little hobby room with like I had a treadmill, it had like a dartboard, a couch, very, very basic though, like it wasn't decorated very fancy or anything like that. I just wanted it to look like a real casual kind of, yeah, like a hobby room where you might just go and chill out and do some activities. And then I was getting ready to just start doing a sweep of the build and just, you know, being like, okay, this is how everything's looking. Am I happy with it? And then I realized, oh wow, like there's only one bathroom in this building. And then I completely forgot, and I actually reserved this room here to be the main bathroom. And so I had to go and take everything out of the hobby room and then actually convert it to a bathroom. So a very spacious bathroom. It has all the usual bathroom amenities. It's got some nice stone and wood textures in it. It's got some cabinet or counters with a sink, and yeah. Now I'm moving on to the first terrace. So this is the one where I said there was going to be a barbecue. So we've got a barbecue and a table and chairs. Very, very basic. But I feel like you probably, you know, if you're not really into barbecues and eating outdoors, then you could switch this up for maybe another outdoor activity. I can't think of anything at the moment. Perhaps a telescope, I don't know. Then you can always do that. Did initially use the 2-tile barbecue, but came back and switched to 1-tile. And yeah, moving on to the other terrace. And yeah, just got the hot tub and this little decoration for, it's got like some lotion and towels and stuff. Yeah, cute little, cute little terrace with the hot tub. And oh, actually I have finished the footage. So yeah, I haven't done any panning shots or anything like that yet. I'm talking over nothing at the moment, but there will be some here for you to enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this build. I enjoyed putting it together. As always, it's a pleasure to bring these to you. If you do want to download this lot, it is linked below in the description. And yeah, until next time, I will talk to you later.